Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you'd like to hear someone talk about cats, rats, dogs, and mostly reptiles, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button because it's kind of what I'm here for. So, I guess the last video I posted was talking about like salad preps and things like that, and I showed you guys Gordon in the video, and I mentioned his enclosure was looking a little bare. I usually really like to give my animals as much enrichment as possible, as many hiding places and things like that as possible. I have a previous video to where I did an enclosure tour of his enclosure, and it was just so beautifully set up. But then something happened. So in the last few videos, I've also talked about there haven't been as many videos being posted and stuff because we're moving soon, and I've just had so much going on between the pandemic and building a house and getting this current home ready to sell. We're getting very close to the end of that. So a few weeks ago, probably about a month ago, actually, it's been longer than a few weeks. Actually, it was probably about a month and a half ago. Anyways, so not too long ago, but it's been long enough to where I can talk about it and be assured in the way that we clean things. I started noticing in the front of Gordon's enclosure, there were like teeny tiny little things wiggling around. I didn't pay it too much mind because it was semi-bioactive. Like there were no live plants, but it did have isopods and it did have springtails in there in his substrate. So I kind of just thought that it was a springtails because they were really little. And then I started noticing more of them, and then I started noticing more, and I was like, these cannot be springtails. Time out, I gotta let my cat out, hang on. Okay, so I started noticing more and more, and then I was like, I've got to figure out what these are because I don't think they're springtails anymore. They were a little bit larger than springtails, but up against the brown like cocoa fiber substrate, it's cypress mulch and like a jungle floor blend. So against that, they didn't really look like what they were. So I took some videos, I sent them out to other reptile keepers I know and things like that. They all kind of said, it kind of looks like springtails, but they're moving a little funky. Maybe it's just some gnats. And I was like, I don't know, because one of the reasons why I took a video is because they moved very unusual. So they were really little. One of my friends was trying to figure it out with me. She was like, well, see if you can like get one and take a zoomed in picture of it, like a super zoom. I don't have like a micro lens or anything like that. So I tried, it was super blurry. And then I was like, does it look like an ant to you? And I went off of that information and kind of what it looks like and did more and more research. Come to find out, they definitely were ants. And not only were they ants, they were pharaoh ants, which love cypress mulch, and Gordon did have quite a bit of cypress mulch in his enclosure at the time. It was about 90% cypress mulch. I did the freezing method of sanitizing it. I froze it for a couple of days, took it out, let it thaw out, then we put it in there, raised the temperature of it, all of that stuff, right? But clearly I won't be using that method anymore. So I don't know if they came with the bag of mulch or because it was mulch from the hardware store, or if they just kind of came in on their own. Pharaoh ants are such a pain to get rid of as well. So for example, like what we did, and it's worked, like knock on wood, whatever, knock on something, right? Okay, so far it's worked. We literally spent 2 days, my husband and I, taking apart almost everything. We used whitewater and vinegar, cleaned every bit of the walls, the floor. A lot of my enclosures, or all of the enclosures, got a major deep clean in that time. It was 2 days worth of nothing but major deep clean. So I had a suspicion it was coming from Gordon's tank because I saw so many in there. So we kind of started with everyone else and then finished up with Gordon's tank. We didn't see any in any of the other enclosures. We did see them like on the ground kind of, and they were all coming like leading up to Gordon's tank. So we were like, that's definitely the source of the problem. So we took care of everybody else first, had them on paper towel substrates for that whole time and then a little bit longer afterwards. And yeah, it was a pain. It was horrible. It was awful. When we got to Gordon's tank, so Gordon's tank is actually 2 feet deep. It's pretty far back. Scooped out all the substrate. Definitely found out where the nest originated, and it was in this very far back corner. So with the size that pharaoh ants are and all of that, it kind of makes sense that they weren't noticed. I am not even going to go into detail of how many were in his tank because, like I said, it was in that far back corner. And the deal is like, we clean every day these animals. We spot check them. We kind of mix up the substrates and stuff a little bit. I just feel like in doing that, you get like a better cleanup of it. And it was about time for us to do that again. So it had to have only been, we probably mix up the substrates about every 3 weeks. Since then, I've done it a whole lot more though, I can tell you that. But yeah, these things just like blossomed out of control and it was insane. And I don't want to get a whole lot of criticism on this because honestly, like things like this happen and it's normal that they happen. So it'd be cool if we could like be nice about it, right? So we got all of that taken out. We did end up throwing away this beautiful piece of corkwood he had in there because underneath of it, they had like nested in there and stuff. So we threw out almost all of his decorations. If we couldn't physically sterilize it overnight in a bin of whitewater, vinegar, and water, we did not keep it. We took apart his entire Zen habitat. They come apart super easily. Took apart the whole thing, soaked it in the tub for a while. We did not soak the back pieces of, like the side pieces of it. And we did not soak it like 24 hours or anything like that either because we were really worried about ruining the integrity of the product. But it held up through it, obviously, because it's put back up and together. We did use whitewater vinegar for almost everything. I did read online that like pharaoh ants really hate the smell of whitewater vinegar. We got some sticky traps and we put them at the base at like the bottom of the racks that we, like these racks that we keep our animals on. And then I think the one thing that we did that really helped the most was, I can never say this word. We got from a hardware store, we got, it's called like, a lot of people just call it DE. When I kept chickens, I used it a lot with the chickens, so I actually didn't know about it, but it's like Dimamacious. I should have at least read this word before I came on here and started doing this. Dissemination, I don't know, something earth. So DE, you do have to make sure that it is the food grade if you're going to be using it around animals. We did make sure that that was it. I would not recommend mixing it in with the animals, especially animals that burrow their substrates. That's totally not something I'm recommending. A little bit isn't going to hurt them, but it could possibly irritate their scales and things like that. So we did not mix it into the substrate. We did, however, line all of the enclosures bases, all up on top and all of that. We lined the entire floorboards around the reptile room. We like really went to town. It was insane the amount of work. And then the more and more we started thinking about it, we were like, okay, we can give him, it's almost like a hospital tank type setup. We're moving soon. Like we're less than 30 days from moving at this point. We're weeks away from moving at this point. So we can kind of give him a little bit less until we move and then totally go all out again. And the reason we did that was because everything I've read about pharaoh ants is that they're almost impossible to get rid of. I think we found the source of the problem, and we did so much in such a small amount of time that we did end up getting rid of them, because I haven't seen any more. And believe me when I tell you, I have checked like crazy, because like bugs in a house totally freak me out. Like even if they were just ants, I don't care. And I know that they come in and all of that stuff, but it's just one of those things that I don't like. And nobody likes bugs that they don't want inside of their animals' homes, you know? So we totally got that all cleaned out and everything. We've got everything all back and set up. The only thing was that we had to throw away a lot of his stuff. So that is the story as to why he has almost a bare minimum right now. He burrows. He's still got this little PVC pipe that he can hide in, and we threw some extra leaves that we had laying around over there. We had this nice little piece of wood that he actually climbs in and out of. Almost, it reminds me of like a jungle gym on a playground back in the day. So he's in and out of that. He likes to move his leaves around, so we'll occasionally go move him on top of there, so it's like an extra hide. He still has his basking spot. He still has food and water and all of that. I actually just threw some food in there hoping he would come out and you guys could see him, but as you guys know from other videos with Gordon, he just isn't the most camera ready usually. It's also kind of a different time of the day. He's usually out in the middle of the day, so right now he's not going to be out. He's not quite ready to come out yet, I guess. I thought he'd come out when he smelled his food, but anyways, that's all another point. So yeah, another thing that was super crazy about these ants and that they do, is that they have like 150 queens per colony, and the second they feel like they're threatened, they will all go start grabbing eggs and storing them somewhere else. So actually, in the process of us, even knowing that we saved his enclosure for last to clean and everything else was taken down, and you know, everyone else was like away and out of the room. When we got to his, we started noticing them doing that. So we had to kind of like follow the trail. And I think this is why we got lucky and we were able to not have any come back so far. But we did, we could see them grabbing their eggs and running off. So we kind of followed them, and what they had done is where the two metal bars meet right here, they were actually cramming them in between there. So we then took that apart, took all the eggs, killed as many as we could kill immediately, and then covered it all in the DE again. So it was just a hot mess. It definitely felt like we were, like, I don't know, trying to fill a bucket up that had holes put in the bottom of it for 48 hours. So much work, so much effort went into this. And I feel really bad, because like he doesn't have this great crazy enclosure that he had before that I absolutely loved. But like I said, he'll get it again after we move. We are planning on upgrading everybody, and everyone's getting, you know, it's gonna be crazy. Like, it's 2021 are some real animal goals when it comes to the enclosures. But that's really all I have for today. So thank you guys so much for watching, and like and subscribe.